Okay, LCDR, RF link checks are complete and satisfactory.
Copy, and SYS, you can enable alarms and average limits and report complete. Copy.
Alarms active.
Copy, SYS.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes, 7 seconds and counting. Preparing now to go into the 20-minute built-in hold in 3, 2, 1. T-minus 15 minutes and holding. This is a 20-minute built-in hold.
Timer, verify the sequencer is holding.
Verify.
Sequencer at the end of the built-in hold. Start the sequencer.
Roger. Cycling lock tank down.
The Dawn spacecraft weighs 2,684 pounds at launch. When the solar arrays are deployed, the spacecraft will be more than 65 feet long, tip to tip. The spacecraft has 3 ion thrusters that are fueled using xenon propellant to provide a gradual increase in acceleration. The spacecraft's acceleration when using the ion propulsion system is 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4 days. However, over the 6 years that the ion propulsion system will be providing thrust, the spacecraft will gradually be increasing in speed to more than 24,000 miles per hour faster than what it was at the time that it separated from the Delta II rocket, almost twice its original velocity. Most of the communications channels here in the Mission Director Center are relatively quiet right now, and that's always a good sign when you get into the built-in hold with not much activity. That means there's not much to catch up on or any engineering issues that they're working. We'll look now at some animation of what the Delta II will be doing once we get to launch here in about an hour from now. This is at Launch Pad 17B, where the Delta II heavy vehicle is awaiting its liftoff with the Gantry Island Mobile Service Tower retracted.
First stage healing and action bottle decay checks are complete.
Copy.
Launch service being provided to NASA by the United Launch Alliance. Liftoff of the Delta II. It will go through the sound barrier approximately 30 seconds after liftoff, which time the Jupiter Inlet Tracking Station will also begin acquiring. We'll go through maximum dynamic pressure 39 seconds after liftoff, And then a minute 20 into the flight, the 6 ground-lit solid rocket boosters will separate, and then the 3 air-lit solids will ignite. We'll have the main engine cutoff occur 4 minutes and 22 seconds after launch. It will fall away. And for the second stage beginning to burn, we'll be getting data through the Antigua Island station. Fairing jettisons 4 minutes 41 seconds after liftoff, and the second stage continues to burn until 8 minutes 58 seconds into the mission, at which time it will cut off, and we go into a 42-minute coast phase. We'll have contact through the Dongara station. The second stage will restart. Tennant Creek acquires, the second stage cuts off, and the third stage ignites after spin-up and separation from the second stage. The spacecraft then separates after burnout of the third stage, and we'll be getting data through the Kwajalein Island station. It's the completion of the third stage burn, the yo-yo D-spin before we get separation of the spacecraft from the third stage. The third stage separates, and at that point the solar arrays begin to deploy as Dawn heads toward the asteroid Vesta. At T-minus 15 minutes and holding, this is Delta Launch Control.
Cycling the vehicle locks tank vent.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes in holding. We're approximately halfway through our 20-minute plan built-in hold. The Dawn spacecraft will make an 8-year journey to the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter using ion propulsion engines. Dawn's destination is the asteroid Vesta and the dwarf planet Ceres, in an effort to significantly increase our understanding of the conditions and processes that formed our solar system during its earliest era. Evidence shows that Vesta and Ceres have distinct but very different characteristics, and therefore, for some reason, must have followed very different evolutionary paths. By observing both using the same set of instruments, scientists hope to develop an understanding of the transition from the rocky characteristics for which the asteroid Vesta is known to the evolutionary, icy, almost snowball characteristics of a dwarf planet for which Ceres is representative. The Dawn spacecraft has the largest solar arrays that have been flown in space. They're almost 65 feet from tip to tip, and will be very important once they reach deep space around the asteroid Ceres. At T-minus 15 minutes and holding, this is Delta Launch Control.
LCDR, RC on 1.
Go ahead, RC.
Roger, are we free to let relieve Tel 4 from our telemetry link checks?
Yeah, link checks are complete.
Okay. Copy.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes and holding.
Minus 30 minutes.
Have approximately 5 minutes remaining in this planned built-in hold.
This is the LCDR on Channel 1. Following personnel, report ready to proceed with the countdown. ACC?
Ready.
ATC 2.
Ready.
ATC 3.
Ready.
EEA.
Ready.
ESYS.
Ready.
FMA.
Ready.
FSC.
Ready.
GE.
Ready.
HYE.
Ready.
MEA.
Ready.
FCO.
Ready.
OSM.
Ready.
TEA.
Ready.
Prop 1.
Ready.
Prop 2.
Ready.
RC.
Ready.
NSC.
Ready.
RCO.
Ready.
SSC.
Ready.
SSP.
Ready.
SYS.
Ready.
TM1.
Ready.
TM2.
Ready.
VE.
Ready.
VP.
Ready.
VSE.
Ready.
MCE.
Ready.
And Launch Director.
Ready.
Here are our polls of the launch team for their readiness to come out of this standard planned 20-minute built-in hold, which will count us down to T-minus 4 minutes, in which time we'll enter another 10-minute hold. Three minutes remaining in this planned built-in hold now. And we'll be getting one final update on the weather, but right now the radar looks pretty good. Most of the rain shower activities about 40 miles off to the southeast downrange. The Delta II rocket, when it lifts off, will be moving downrange on an azimuth of 93 degrees. Almost a straight easterly direction. The rocket, as we see it there, weighs 629,500 pounds. And we can just see the first traces of dawn beginning to come up over the eastern horizon, the first rays of sunlight. Picking up in about 90 seconds.
Minus 26 minutes.
CDR, resume the count at the end of the built-in hold.
Roger.
Personnel, stand by for release of the hold.
Coming out of the hold now in 10 seconds. Standing by now to hear from the launch conductor that the countdown has resumed.
T-minus 15 minutes and counting.
SSP. Top off second stage helium and nitrogen system pressures prior to end of last built-in hold.
Roger.
SSP reports second stage oxidizer tank pressure.
173.2.
173.2.
SSP reports second stage fuel tank pressure.
133.2.
133.2.
SSP reports second stage helium and nitrogen pressurizations are normal.
Normal.
SSP verify second stage helium regulator lockup pressures are go.
Go.
SSP verify second stage nitrogen regulator lockup pressures are go.
Go.
And HYE verify first and second stage hydraulics are go.
Go.
DST verify RF link checks are complete.
Complete.
LCDR countdown limit conditions T-minus 15 minutes to on.
On.
GE perform T4 and T60 limit checks and the backup TFE. Report complete on channel 5.
Roger.
T-minus 12 minutes.
SSE third stage power enable on.
On.
SSE establish NCS test output off.
Off.
SSE third stage TM system external power to on.
On.
SSE report third stage system external current.
Zero decimal 75.
0.75.
SSE third stage TM transmitter external power on.
On.
SSE report third stage transmitter external current.
1.30.
1.30.
SSE report third stage TM base plate temperature.
60.7.
60.7.
TM2 obtain third stage TM data trend.
Roger.
We're looking at a shot of the launch vehicle data center where the NASA engineering team is evaluating the state of health and readiness for launch of the Delta II vehicle. This is co-located adjacent to the Mission Director Center.
T-minus 10 minutes.
MCE, report the load relief checksum number.
Load relief checksum for today's op is 1 Echo 6 Echo.
1 Echo 6 Echo. FMA QAM perform the load relief wind data loading per task 3B. Use channel 6 and report complete on channel 5.
FMA copies, checksum 1 Echo, 6 Echo.
ACC, report fairing inlet temp.
54.0.
RCO, report vehicle beacon go on external power.
Right now, beacon go.
Prop 1, verify engine regulator go.
Go.
Prop 1, report engine section temp.
76.6.
Copy.
Prop 1, report lube line temp.
67.4.
Copy.
Prop 1, verify booster helium-nitrogen pressures within limits prior to end of the built-in hold.
Roger, within limits.
Prop 1, establish vehicle fuel tank vent is closed.
Closed.
Prop 1, vehicle fuel tank press open, pressurized tank 24 to 30 psig, and then perform steps A through delta.
Pressurizing.
This is the Delta Operations Building. This is where the United Launch Alliance and Air Force teams are sitting in control of the countdown this morning. This is actually from where the command will be sent to send the ignition signal to the Delta II rocket, which occurs at T-minus 2.5 seconds before launch. This team is in direct control of the vehicle from this location and all of the systems
Prop
at
2,
Launch Pad
VSD
17B.
press open.
Open.
Prop 2, verify LOX umbilical purge closed.
Verified.
PTO, verify FABU and engine heaters are go.
Go.
And PTO, verify overflow line temp rise is less than 12 degrees.
Less than 12.
T-minus 7 minutes.
SSC, perform third stage internal transfer.
Active. Complete.
Prop 1, report LOX relief plenum pressure.
8.4.
Copy.
Prop 1, report LOX relief plenum temperature.
68.5.
Copy.
Prop 2, verify VE LOX bleeds and LOX start tanker venting.
Verified.
Prop 2, top LOX to 100%, verify 100% LOX float switch operation one time.
Roger.
Prop 2, allow to boil off, maintain a LOX level between 99 and 100%, report when complete.
Roger.
T-minus 6 minutes.
ATC2, pressurized facility water tanks.
Pressurizing.
TM2, report internal Batmon volts.
31.8.
Copy.
TM2, report TM Batmon volts.
32.1.
Copy.
TM2, obtain third stage internal data trend.
Roger.
LWO, verify area weather conditions are go for launch. LWO, channel 1.
LWO, go ahead.
Verify area weather conditions are go for launch.
Roger, conditions are go.
Going now into the built-in hold in
T-minus
about
5 minutes.
1 minute.
SSC.
We're
perform
T-minus
third stage
5 minutes and
external
counting.
transfer.
We've had
Active.
confirmation that the launch area weather conditions are go for launch.
Complete.
OSM. Launch enable closed.
Closed.
Prop 1. Launch enable on.
On.
SSP. Launch enable on.
On.
ATC 3. Launch enable on.
On.
SIS. Verify no record on change list are activated.
Verified.
Timer at T4. Verify the sequencer is holding.
Roger.
Standing by to go into the hold in 10 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
T-minus
T-minus
4 minutes and
4
holding.
minutes
This
and
is a
holding.
10-minute built-in
This is a
hold.
planned 10-minute built-in hold.
At the end of the built-in hold, restart the sequencer.
Roger.
PEA, report ready to enable first and second stage T-minus 4 minute limits.
We're ready for limits.
Prop 2, activate and display record on change list for engine start.
Can work. Complete.
And Prop 2, cycle locks fill and drain valve closed, then open 3 times. Verify proper response and leave open. Report when complete.
Roger.
L minus 13 minutes.
And SC, request spacecraft to configure for launch.
Roger. LCDR Prop 2, Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Fill and drain's been cycled 3 times. Operation nominal.
Copy. And Prop 2, you can cancel display and deactivate record on change list.
And work.
ATC 3, report the amp hours remaining for the following. For CRD1 battery, remaining prior to F1.
Please record 1.37.
Usage.
0.01.
And for launch.
1.36.
CRD2 prior to F1.
1.37.
Usage.
0.01.
And for launch.
1.36.
And LCDR Prop 2, Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Okay, during our functional top off to 100%, the 99% B load switch is not operational. It's been reported on Channel 5, and it is not needed for launch. Both 100% are working.
Copy. Thank you.
This is the NLM on the NLM net. We're ready to proceed with terminal count and final launch polls. Currently, the range is green, and all parties are reporting that all the support is green. And with that, I'd like to poll the team. NASA CE.
NASA CE, go.
NASA MEM.
NASA MEM, go.
SMA.
SMA, go.
SMD.
SMDs go. Beware, we will be transitioning to internal power in 5 minutes.
Copy that. And NAM.
NASA advisor team's ready.
Very good. NASA team's ready.
We're halfway through the 10-minute built-in hold. We heard NASA Launch Director Omar Baez give a go to continue, and he'll be
minus 9 minutes.
discussing final readiness with United Launch Alliance Mission Director Rich Murphy.
Proceed with the countdown. ACC?
Ready.
ATC 2.
Ready.
ATC 3.
Ready.
EEA.
Ready.
ESYS.
Ready.
FMA.
Ready.
SYS.
Ready.
TM1.
Ready.
TM2.
Ready.
MEA.
Ready.
PEA.
Ready.
Prop 1.
Ready.
RCO.
Ready.
FCO.
Ready.
Prop 2.
Ready.
PTO.
Ready.
RC.
Ready.
SSC.
Ready.
SSP.
Ready.
FSC.
Ready.
PE.
Ready.
HYE.
Ready.
VE.
Ready.
BP.
Ready.
VSE.
Ready.
SEM.
Ready.
OSM.
Ready.
LWO.
Ready.
NSC.
Ready.
MCE.
Ready.
And Launch Director.
Ready.
Post-launch securing will be conducted on Channel 5. Flight data will be reported real-time on Channel 2. Following personnel switch to Channel 5 after liftoff is confirmed for pad securing, LCDR, Prop 1, ATC 2, Prop 2, SSP, OSM, SSC, Talker, FSC, and ATC 3. All personnel, if a condition that exceeds a launch constraint is observed during the final 4 minutes, the observer shall call a hold on the launch ops net Channel 1 as directed by the console operator's memo. There are no expected or allowable alarms after T-minus 60 seconds. All personnel remain on Channel 1 until after launch. In the event of a hold after T-minus 4 minutes, recycle steps will begin in Appendix K of the Yellow Pages. To prevent the possibility of a hang fire, personnel with the launch enable switches are instructed not to switch launch enable off after T-minus 4 seconds. In case of an engine cutoff or no vehicle liftoff by T+5 seconds, recycle and safing will be performed per Appendix L. Appendix L are the red pages. SSC, calibrate third stage telemetry 2 minutes prior to picking up the count.
Roger.
We are approximately 2 minutes away from coming out of this final built-in hole at T-minus 4.
Sequencer, CLCDR on Channel 1, do not release the hold. Copy. All personnel monitoring Channel 1, this is CLCDR. At this time we have a fouled range, no other information. Please stand by, monitor your systems, and wait for a new T0.
That means the range is no-go, probably due to a boat or a ship offshore, or possibly an aircraft.
NSC, CLCDR on channel 1. NSC, CLCDR on channel 1.
This is NSC, go ahead.
Please request spacecraft transfer back external.
Copy.
Appears that the issue is a ship in the area where the solid rocket boosters would be dropping off the Delta II. It will be about 5 minutes before we get a status on that. And we do have a collision avoidance cutout. The Coast Guard has made contact with the ship. We do have a collision avoidance cutout between 734 or 727 and 734. So we're looking right now at possibly a 727 liftoff, but that has not been decided. Again, the issue is a ship in the area where the solid rocket boosters will be jettisoned. The Coast Guard has been successful in contacting the vessel, and we'll be getting an update in about 5 minutes. Coast Guard reports that the ship should be out of the area by 7:25. A new launch time is under discussion. We continue to hold at T-minus 4 minutes. The new launch time is going to be planned for 7:34. That is right after the end of our collision avoidance cutout. And it will also give the ship plenty of time to clear the hazard box. So we'll come out of the planned built-in hold at exactly 7:30, proceeding toward a 7:34
Sequencer,
a.m. launch.
CLCDR on channel 1.
Sequencer.
Please reset sequencer for new T0, 113400 Zulu. Picking up at T-4 at 1130 Zulu.
Copy.
NASA launch manager Omar Baez has polled his team for readiness to pick up, and everyone, including the Dawn spacecraft, will be ready to come out of the hold when we begin counting once again at 7:30, which we have confirmation from the range safety team that the ship has cleared the box, the danger drop box. Again, the ship was in an area where the solid rocket boosters would be falling.
CLCDR sequencer on 1.
Go ahead, sequencer.
Time is set.
Copy, thank you.
And SSC, do you need to perform another third stage calibration?
That's active.
And you could do that, 2 minutes before we pick up the count.
Copy.
We have confirmation that the ship has cleared the box. Range safety confirms that the range is green. So we will be picking up at 7:30. Right now we are just going into that COLA, that collision avoidance cutout. That is actually for the International Space Station that is going through our plane of launch. So we will be prepared to launch as soon as the International Space Station clears, and that is at 7:34. We'll get a final go for launch from NASA Launch Director Omar Baez 3 minutes before liftoff. That will come at the same time that the spacecraft goes to internal power, and the mission director for United Launch Alliance, Rich Murphy, also confirms to the launch conductor to proceed with the terminal count.
Second launching pin.
Picking up the count in 2 minutes. And we have been given a clearance by the mission director to pick up the count at 7:30. United Launch Alliance mission director Rich Murphy passing that word to the launch team in the Delta Operations Building. Rich Murphy here in the Mission Director Center. And again, Omar Baez will give his go for NASA and the spacecraft at 3 minutes.
CLCDR, proceed to terminal count at the end of the built-in hold.
Roger.
CLCDR, verify water pressure is 125 plus or minus 25 psij.
Verified.
FMA, word latch on.
On.
LCDR, establish countdown limit conditions. T-minus 4 minutes are on.
On.
Load relief. Verified.
Stand by for release of the hold.
Coming out of the hold now in 10 seconds. Releasing the hold in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
SSE, perform vehicle internal transfer.
Active. TM12 internal.
Dawn is on internal power and configured for launch.
Beacon internal. TM1 and 2 internal. Control 1 and 2 internal. Complete.
SSE, perform vehicle arm.
Active. SNA 1 and 2 arm.
Ord 1, 2 arm.
Ord 1 and 2 arm, second stage. Complete.
SSE, perform third stage internal transfer.
Active. Complete.
OSM, solid motor SNA arm permit to close.
Closed.
FSE, solid motor ignition.
T-minus 3 minutes.
Arm.
Arm.
NASA Launch Director Omar Baez has given his go for launch. And Kira Patel, the Dawn Project Manager, has given the Dawn spacecraft go for launch.
Closed.
SSE, third stage SNA arm.
Arm on.
Top 1, vehicle fuel tank press open.
Open.
Fuel umbilical purge open.
Open.
FSE, BAT 1 heater control exit.
Exit.
Bat 2, heater control exit.
Exit.
NSC, report spacecraft is go.
Don is go.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
SSC, FTS bat 1 heater and bat heaters 1 and 2 off. Off. Prop 1, pressurized first stage locks tank to relief.
Final permission to
Prop
launch
2,
has been
top
given.
First stage
Weather
locks
is
to
go.
100% levels.
Topping at 100%.
Topping liquid oxygen now to 100%.
90 seconds.
SSC, hydraulic external power on.
On external.
80 seconds.
RCO, report range is go for launch.
Range is go. CLCDR, you are go for launch.
Roger.
70 seconds.
SSC, hydraulic internal.
On internal.
T-minus 1 minute. 1 minute to launch.
LCDR, countdown limit conditions, T-minus 60 seconds. On.
On.
100% locks.
Forty-five seconds.
CLCDR 17B, launch enabled to flight.
Flight.
ATC 3, main power disable on.
On.
35 seconds.
Hydraulics go.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 13, 12, green status board. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Main engine start. 1, 0, and liftoff of the Delta II rocket with Dawn using ion propulsion to reach the catalysts of our solar system.
The kick rate came in on time. Peak chamber pressure this time. Coming up on T plus 25 seconds. This vehicle has worked its way nicely out of the transients of liftoff. Coming up on Mach 1, we've exceeded the speed of sound, and coming up on max Q. The vehicle is now 3 miles altitude, downrange distance 12 miles, with a velocity of over 1,600 miles per hour.
Salute to telemetry manager Mark Levine.
Both verniers and the main engine chamber pressure still looking good. We're reaching solid motor burnout, the first 6 motors. And burnout confirmed. Jettison, solid motor jettison. And we've ignited the air start motors. Air start motor chamber pressure looking good, all burning symmetrically. Both verniers and the main engine continue to burn well. Very good chamber pressures there. And we see the usual disturbances at solid motor jettison. Vehicle has recovered well. And we are now 19 miles altitude, 44 miles downrange, and 4,000 miles per hour. Air start solid motors continue to burn well. Our next event will be a burnout. Solid motor burnout. and jettison. All three air start solid motors have jettisoned, and our LOX tank bi-level relief reset did come in on time. I can confirm a greater LOX tank pressure. Now passing T plus 190 seconds. And stage 1 guidance also came in on time. And the vehicle has recovered well from the air start solid motor jettison. The vehicle is now passing an altitude of 52 miles, downrange distance 207 miles, and a velocity just passing 9,700 miles per hour. And we can confirm the vehicle is tracking down the center of the range corridor. Coming up on T plus 235 seconds. Our next event will be a MECO enable. And right now, both verniers and the main engine continue to perform well. See nice stable combustion chamber pressure. Vehicle body rates are nominal. We have our float switches, and we have enabled MECO. MECO confirmed, both verniers still burning well. MECO.
Main engine cutoff.
Stages have separated. And ignition. Stage 2 ignition. And we have a fairing unlatch and jettison. Data looking very good coming from JD. Our second stage chamber pressure is solid, and we see no helium reg oscillations at ignition. Looks like we're in a steady state burn mode for second stage. Vehicle is now 80 miles altitude, 538 miles downrange distance, and a velocity coming up on 14,500 miles per hour.
Data coming from Jupiter Inlet and from the station here at the Cape Tel 4.
Vehicle is now 87 miles altitude, downrange distance 650 miles, and a velocity 14,800 miles per hour. We have a liftoff time of the first stage of 11 hours, 34 minutes, 00.372 seconds.
And data now coming through the Antigua Island tracking station in the Bahamas, the second stage burn data.
Now passing T plus 390 seconds. Vehicle telemetry is still looking very clean. And we have just switched to Antigua data. So we're now LOS from Tel 4 and JD. Thanks for the ride. Coming up on T plus 420 seconds. Vehicle now 97 miles altitude, 908 downrange distance miles, and a velocity of 15,500 miles per hour. Data looking very clean. Second stage engine performance looking very good. We have a solid chamber pressure. Hydraulic system and return pressure looking good. And once again, very clean data from Antigua as the vehicle continues its ascent upstairs to orbit. Passing T plus 490 seconds. Second stage continues to perform well. We're looking at good body rates, normal chamber pressure, and we're now passing 102 nautical miles altitude. Getting pretty close to orbital velocity. And our next event will be a nominal SECO, coming up in less than 15 seconds. We've reached second stage helium reg blowdown phase of operation and looking for a SECO. SECO. Hydraulic pump has shut down. Bleed down is complete. Both CRDs remain on. They will be commanded off next. We show a good SECO, and I don't have the exact time, but it looks like a few seconds longer than the expected predict. Still looking very clean data from Antigua. And we see a normal reaction to SECO on the vehicle body rates. CRD shut down. Came in on time. Second stage is now settling down to a normal coast state, and we have our SECO 1 orbit pages available now. The height of apogee was 100.06 nautical miles. Perigee is 99.99, and our inclination 28.6. Can't get better than that. So I can confirm Dawn has made it to orbit. We're reaching the end of coverage from Antigua, and data was looking very clean. And we are now LOS from Antigua. Thanks for the ride. We have a coverage gap in telemetry at this time for about another 39 minutes, after which the vehicle will sail around the world and TM live coverage will continue.
So the Delta II rocket is now in a parking orbit in a coast phase. It's out over the middle of the Atlantic Ocean right now, as we can see, and will eventually approach the coast of Africa, moving southeasterly, and we will not be in communication with it again until it approaches the west coast of Australia, when we will have contact through the Dangara tracking station. And now we're going to be looking at some of the replays of the Delta II and its liftoff with the Dawn spacecraft. This is Delta Launch Control at 27 minutes, 35 seconds into the mission of the Dawn spacecraft aboard the Delta II rocket. As we can see, the Delta II is just crossing the southwest coast of Africa, and will continue until reaching the Indian Ocean, and at that point it will begin to turn more toward the northeast as it makes an approach to the northeastern coast of Australia, and we will make contact with it for the second stage burn through the Dongara tracking station. About 5 minutes after that, we'll be getting contact through Tennant Creek as well in north central Australia. And together those stations will give us the second stage burn and the third stage burn. And then spacecraft separation will come through Tennant Creek and the Kwajalein Island station in the Pacific. This time the vehicle is simply in a parking orbit and in a coast phase. The total duration of the coast is about 42 minutes. And at the time that we lost our contact through the Antigua station, all of the data look good. Our next event will be the reignition of the second stage, which occurs 55 minutes after launch, so that will be about 7:29 this morning. And we should begin to get some data ahead of that to indicate that we have contact with the second stage and is beginning its reorientation for that burn between about 7:20 and 7:25 Eastern Time this morning. At a mission elapsed time of 30 minutes into the Dawn mission, this is Delta Launch Control. This is Delta Control, 47 minutes, 58 seconds into the flight of the Delta II with the Dawn spacecraft. The Delta II now is approaching the west coast of Australia, and we should shortly be getting contact through the Dongara tracking station, which is on the west coast of Africa, and it will be followed about 5 minutes after that by contact through the Tennant Creek station in north central Australia, and that'll be giving us our data on the second stage restart and the third stage burn before we get to spacecraft separation 62 minutes after launch. That'll come both through Tennant Creek and the Kwajalein Atoll Reagan Test Range site in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific. So we're going to stand by now to hear Mark Levine resume his coverage from the telemetry lab once we begin to get data and begin to reorient the second stage for its burn. Once again, the official launch time this morning was 7:34:00.372. And so far, the position of Dawn on the Delta II is exactly where on the trajectory it is supposed to be. And the parking orbit is nominal, so our next burn, followed by the third stage, will kick it out on a escape trajectory on its way past Mars and then in the two asteroids, Vesta and Ceres. 50 minutes now into the flight, standing by for resumption of telemetry data. This is Delta Launch Control.
Flight commentary is back with live data over Australia. Our ullage jets did come on, and hydraulic pump has switched on. Our next event will be a restart. Ignition, we have second stage restart. Data quality looking very good over Dongara. All its jets did switch off, and our hydraulic system and return pressure still looking good. Just passing T plus 3100, 30 seconds. Second stage ox and fuel flow rates looking good. Chamber pressure is solid. Second stage continues to perform well. We still verify stable combustion. And our data quality is still looking good from Donguera. And the vehicle body rates are nominal. A little bit less than 50 seconds to go on this second stage burn. This is a long restart to raise the apogee. Our data quality is still looking good, and the data levels are at the levels they should be. Close to the events. SECO. We've had SECO 2. Looks to be a few seconds longer than nominal. And our hydraulic pump did switch off. Bleed down is complete. Rack's jet activity looks nominal. Our next event will be a third stage spin rockets up, and we should release our third stage any second now. We have spin up. And separation, third stage separation.
Tennant Creek also now.
Our next event will be a startup and ignition of the third stage about 10 seconds from now.
Also now giving us data.
Show good rates, a little bit of noise. We've switched tracking stations. Should be ignition. Yeah, we just switched to Tennant Creek tracking station moments before ignition, and the data was cleaning up, but we show good chamber pressure on the third stage motor. T plus 3,390 seconds. Less than 10 seconds, about 10 seconds, correction, on this third stage burn. Chamber pressure is still looking good. Starting to see average levels of nutation as we approach burnout. Burnout. Chico. We can confirm some NCS jet fires, and the nutation is being controlled. Data quality still looking very clean from Tennant Creek over Australia. Third stage is just coasting along. It will continue for about another 2 minutes. And our nutation is holding steady at a low rate. And we'll have a look at the SECO 2 orbit now that there's a little bit of time. This was after raising the apogee. And the numbers are, again, this is SECO 2. Height of apogee, 3,681.8 miles. Height of perigee, 95.29. And an inclination of 28.64. And that's the last frame of data for the orbit before the third stage ignited and separated. And that means we hit that target, and we were pointing in the right direction when the third stage ignited. Showing a little bit of noise now on our third stage data, but it's cleaning back up.
Kwajalein Island has acquired in the Pacific, the Marshall Islands. That's the Reagan test site. Reagan test site tracking the third stage through spacecraft separation. About 90 seconds away from spacecraft sep.
Really not much to report. The third stage continues to coast along. Our next event on the third stage will be a D-spin weight deploy. And we are showing signs of a degraded TM reception. We're getting close to an LOS from Tennant Creek. We should be switching to Reagan test site any time now. We're currently LOS from Tennant Creek. Thanks for the ride. And we have now acquired our signal over the Reagan test site over the Kwajalein Islands, and our data quality looks very good. Past T plus 3,700 seconds, we have D-spin weight and spacecraft separation. Showed a good D-spin reaction and a very clean separation signal. Dawn, you're on your way. Good luck.
Well, we've had spacecraft separation, and Dawn is on its way to the asteroid belt.
Our next event is back on the second stage.
We'll be
back on the second stage.
Having our NASA launch director, Omar Baez, come over and give us an out brief on how the countdown went this morning. Right now, Dawn is almost 4,000 miles away from Earth. Traveling at over 25,000 miles an hour. And the launch team here is exchanging the congratulatory handshakes. And we don't expect to hear from Dawn as we heard from our project manager, Keir Patel, for somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours at least. And it'll be another 2 hours after that before we're able to have a state of health. So we will provide a state of health at the post-launch press conference, which is scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern Time today, when we will have the spacecraft personnel, the project manager, the principal investigator, and our program manager from NASA headquarters, all there to talk about the state of health of Dawn as it's relayed to us through the Goldstone tracking station in California, the Deep Space Network. So we're waiting for Omar Baez to make his way through the congratulatory crowd here in the Mission Directors Center. It appears to have been, by all accounts, we've been able to determine a very successful and happy launch this morning. And we see Omar Baez is almost with us here momentarily. "66 minutes, 45 seconds now into the Dawn mission, with Dawn now on its way to the asteroid belt. And we're joined here at the console with our NASA launch director, Omar Baez, who will give us a brief recap on how the countdown went this morning. I guess we went into it a little bit concerned about the weather, but I guess that didn't really pan out to be too much of a concern, did it?
We were expecting it to get a little bit worse than that and get some of those showers over the pad, but Mother Nature worked with us and kept it down towards Patrick. That's about as close as it got to it. So the weather cooperated. A really quiet count, and had no excitement up until the end when we had a ship out in the drop zone for the solid motors, and we held and retargeted the middle of the window, worked through all the resets to get there, and
what was our what affected the closure, the collision avoidance?
Well, we had the International Space Station cutting out a couple of minutes of our window. I don't have it. It was from 7:27 to about 7:33, where we had a conjunction with the International Space Station. So we were still targeting the middle of the window, which was outside of that range. So that really didn't affect us much.
And I guess what's a little bit interesting is in the countdown dress rehearsal, we actually practiced how we would manage a vote coming into the area. That's why we do these simulations, I guess.
That's why we do these simulations, so that we're cool and collective and able to react on the fly.
So what so far can we say about the trajectory of the spacecraft in terms of how the Delta II performed and where it put it in terms of its mark?
The Delta II Heavy has performed well. We're exactly where we want to be. The first stage, the second stage, and the third stage, we're all nominal. Nothing funny in the data so far. And from what we see in the orbits, we're right on the money. And just waiting for the spacecraft to get over their DSN stations and make sure they're doing all right.
Well, we have, interestingly, another Delta II Heavy as our next launch coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
That will be glassed, and that should be the first quarter-ish of next year. And will be from the same pad here, 17B. And that will be a Goddard Space Flight Center mission.
Well, Omar, thanks very much, and congratulations, and we'll look to being back here again early next year.
Thank you, George.
Thanks a lot. That will conclude our coverage now of the Dawn mission. As we said, there will be a post-launch press conference to give us the Dawn state of health at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And at this time, we are awaiting contact with Dawn through the Goldstone tracking station in California, which will come somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours after launch. This concludes our launch coverage for Dawn. At 70 minutes, 40 seconds into the mission of the Dawn spacecraft, this is Delta Launch Control.
Okay, LCDR, RF link checks are complete and satisfactory.
Copy. And SYS, you can enable alarms and average limits and report complete. Copy. Alarms active. Copy, SYS.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes, 7 seconds and counting. Preparing now to go into the 20-minute built-in hold in 3, 2, 1. T-minus 15 minutes and holding. This is a 20-minute built-in hold.
Timer, verify the sequencer is holding.
Verify.
Sequencer at the end of the built-in hold. Start the sequencer.
Roger.
Cycling lock tank down.
The Dawn spacecraft weighs 2,684 pounds at launch. When the solar arrays are deployed, the spacecraft will be more than 65 feet long, tip to tip. The spacecraft has 3 ion thrusters that are fueled using xenon propellant to provide a gradual increase in acceleration. The spacecraft's acceleration when using the ion propulsion system is 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4 days. However, over the 6 years that the ion propulsion system will be providing thrust, the spacecraft will gradually be increasing in speed to more than 24,000 miles per hour faster than what it was at the time that it separated from the Delta II rocket, almost twice its original velocity. Most of the communications channels here in the Mission Director Center are relatively quiet right now, and that's always a good sign when you get into the built-in hold with not much activity. That means there's not much to catch up on or any engineering issues that they're working. We'll look now at some animation of what the Delta II will be doing once we get to launch here in about an hour from now. This is at Launch Pad 17B, where the Delta II heavy vehicle is awaiting its liftoff with the Gantry Relay Mobile Service Tower retracted.
LCDR first stage helium nitrogen bottle decay checks are complete.
Copy.
Launch service being provided to NASA by the United Launch Alliance. Liftoff of the Delta II. It will go through the sound barrier approximately 30 seconds after liftoff, which time the Jupiter Inlet Tracking Station will also begin acquiring. We'll go through maximum dynamic pressure 39 seconds after liftoff, and then a minute 20 into the flight, the 6 ground-lit solid rocket boosters will separate, and then the 3 air-lit solids will ignite. Have the main engine cutoff occur 4 minutes and 22 seconds after launch. It will fall away. And for the second stage beginning to burn, we'll be getting data through the Antigua Island station. Fairing jettisons 4 minutes 41 seconds after liftoff, and the second stage continues to burn until 8 minutes 58 seconds into the mission, at which time it will cut off, and we go into a 42-minute coast phase. We'll have contact through the Dongara station. The second stage will restart. Tennant Creek acquires, the second stage cuts off, and the third stage ignites after spin-up and separation from the second stage. The spacecraft then separates after burnout of the third stage, and we'll be getting data through the Kwajalein Island station. It's the completion of the third stage burn, the yo-yo D-spin before we get separation of the spacecraft from the third stage. The third stage separates, and at that point the solar rays begin to deploy as Dawn heads toward the asteroid Vesta. At T-minus 15 minutes and holding, this is Delta Launch Control.
LCDR, RC on 1.
Go ahead, RC.
Roger. Are we free to let relieve Tel 4 from our telemetry link checks?
Yeah, link checks are complete.
Okay. Copy.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes and holding.
L minus 30 minutes.
Have approximately 5 minutes remaining in this planned built-in hold.
This is the LCDR on Channel 1. Following personnel, report ready to proceed with the countdown. ACC?
Ready.
ATC 2.
Ready.
ATC 3.
Ready.
EEA.
Ready.
ESYS.
Ready.
FMA.
Ready.
FSC.
Ready.
GE.
Ready.
HYE.
Ready.
MEA.
Ready.
FCO.
Ready.
OSM.
Ready.
TEA.
Ready.
Prop 1.
Ready.
Prop 2.
Ready.
RC.
Ready.
NSC. Ready. RCO.
Ready.
SSC.
Ready.
SSP.
Ready.
SYS.
Ready.
TM1.
Ready.
TM2.
Ready.
VE.
Ready.
VP.
Ready.
VSE.
Ready.
MCE.
Ready.
And Launch Director.
Ready.
Here are our polls of the launch team for their readiness to come out of this standard planned 20-minute built-in hold, which will count us down to T-minus 4 minutes, in which time we'll enter another 10-minute hold. Three minutes remaining in this planned built-in hold now. And we'll be getting one final update on the weather, but right now the radar looks pretty good. Most of the rain shower activities about 40 miles off to the southeast downrange. The Delta II rocket, when it lifts off, will be moving downrange on an azimuth of 93 degrees, almost a straight easterly direction. The rocket, as we see it there, weighs 629,500 pounds. And we can just see the first traces of dawn beginning to come up over the eastern horizon, the first rays of sunlight. Picking up in about 90 seconds.
L minus 26 minutes.
CLCDR, resume the count at the end of the built-in hold.
Roger.
Personnel, stand by for release of the hold.
Cycling the vehicle locks tank vent.
This is Delta Launch Control at T-minus 15 minutes in holding. We're approximately halfway through our 20-minute plan built-in hold. The Dawn spacecraft will make an 8-year journey to the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter using ion propulsion engines. Dawn's destination is the asteroid Vesta and the dwarf planet Ceres, in an effort to significantly increase our understanding of the conditions and processes that formed our solar system during its earliest era. Evidence shows that Vesta and Ceres have distinct but very different characteristics, and therefore, for some reason, must have followed very different evolutionary paths. By observing both using the same set of instruments, scientists hope to develop an understanding of the transition from the rocky characteristics for which the asteroid Vesta is known to the evolutionary, icy, almost snowball characteristics of a dwarf planet for which Ceres is representative. The Dawn spacecraft has the largest solar arrays that have been flown in space. They're almost 65 feet from tip to tip, and will be very important once they reach deep space around the asteroid Ceres. At T-minus 15 minutes and holding, this is Delta Launch Control.